Edition of Too Much TV.
TV.
I'm your host, Hound Dog Buck 50.
And I'm your host, Dirty Sandwich, aka Melanin, aka Trap.
The founder of trap music, for those who don't know. um, what we're here to talk about, we're doing a throwback blog today. We're talking about Bad Boy or Deathrow. For those that are old enough who do remember that era, there was a division, if you will. Maybe you wasn't divided. Maybe you like both of them. But we're here to discuss our opinions on who we thought. I won't even say who we thought, who we felt was the superior label, if you will, or your favorite label. I'm going to start with you and how you felt about the two, and just talk about both of them and what they brought to the game.
Well, first of all, they're undeniable. Both of the best labels that have ever been on the planet. You know, they were both marketable. They both had great artists, and they both had an impact on hip hop that will be forever in the history of hip hop, because we both lost two of the greatest rappers of all time. You know, the Notorious B.I.G., aka Biggie Smalls, and Tupac Shakur. You know, personally, just for my take, being that I was born and raised in New York, you know, I love the New York sound. The Ready to Die album was one of my favorite albums of all time. You know, with I have to give Craig Mack, you know, when he dropped that Flavor in Your Ear, you couldn't. You know, that was the joint.
It was something to be reckoned with.
But I'm not gonna lie to you. When Chronic dropped, man, you talking about?
Yeah, that was the spring. That was the inauguration of that.
Oh man, that album is a classic. It's so iconic. It's iconic. I don't even put it in the classic. It's iconic because that album alone spawned a lot of stars from now. You know, Nate Dogg, Snoop,
Daz and Corrupt.
That the whole rostrum of the Deathrow came from that album. You know, and they were legends in their own right. So I felt like Chronic definitely. If you put Chronic in I can't even say. You put Chronic, cause Chronic came out what, 92, right?
Yeah, it came out in December of 92. I remember because I went to go live with my sister for a while.
Yeah, it came
out. I bought it before I moved, December of 92.
December of 92, and I thought it was summer 92, but anyway, it was December 92 because Hurricane Andrew came in August of 92. I remember that. So Chronic came out around December 92, and then Ready to Die came out, I think,
in 94?
Either 93, 94?
Yeah, it was 93.
Right?
I think it was 94.
Yeah, because Craig Mack came out by like 90, before Biggie. It came out by around the same time, kind of Chronic, I think.
Yeah, I know Biggie, when Biggie first dropped, if you remember, his first single was on the Who's the Man soundtrack.
Yeah.
Party and Bullshit.
Yep.
That's when he rapped, that's what, and it's funny you even said that, because that was the Biggie that a lot of us fell in love with. We fell in love with the grimy Biggie.
Yeah.
I think he kind of, if you notice, he kind of changed his tone. Like the way he was rapping on Party and Bullshit was the way he was rapping on Give Me the Loot.
Yeah.
With the goodness, he had the high pitch.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then he kind of toned it down.
On
Ready to Die. He toned the pitch down a little bit.
But Ready to Die is a classic. It's a classic. Like, you know, those two albums, and they were basically kind of like the first two hits for both of those labels. You know what I'm saying? Craig Mack went gold. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But Biggie's triple platinum, you know what I'm saying? Double, triple platinum for is what made Biggie. You know what I'm saying? Was what made Bad Boy, just like Chronic made Deathrow. You know? And, you know, like for me, I think I had the roster of Bad Boy is longer. You know, like when you look at the artists that P Diddy had pushed out off of Bad Boy, right? Compared to Deathrow, but Deathrow had a bigger impact because of the records they sold, the impact. See, what people don't understand about um, the the G Funk era, right? The G Funk and South music is that, you know, when you look at the United States, right? New York music only stayed in a certain area, but we all listen to it. You know what I'm saying? Everybody listened to New York music, but the impact of the G Funk and South music was the whole West Coast and the whole South. You talking about and even the Midwest, you know. But when you're dealing with Bad Boy and you had the type of that New York, that boom bap type style, you're only dealing with Jersey, New York, Philly, Boston, like in those areas there. But we listen to it everywhere else. But the impact was mostly in those areas. When it came to that G Funk and that Southern music, man, you talk about the whole West Coast and the whole. It just had like 80% of the United States, you know, locked down. And that's why when Death Row came out and then Snoop album, come on, we all that was a classic album. You know, yeah, exactly.
I remember I bought it.
Now we talking back to back, 92, 93, then Dog Pound, 94, then Tupac, 90. I mean, come on, man. Back to back hits, double, quadruple platinums.
Not to mention they had the soundtracks jumping on too.
Oh yeah,
that was the case above the rim.
Yeah, which is true, you know. So when you look at that now, but Bad Boy they had their thing too, you know. You had what? Yeah, your Craig Mack, yeah, your Biggie.
Yeah, the Locks.
They had the Lock.
You had Mace, yeah, Black Rob.
You can't take away from them.
Even G Def, it wasn't like he was had a long run, but you know he did his little thing.
But then we can't forget the R&B groups, the 112s, you know,
112,
Faith, you know,
Carl Thomas,
man. I mean, yo, you can't take nothing away from Puff, man. Puff had some bangers. He had some hits, and the funny thing is that here's the thing with the difference that made the difference between Bad Boy and Death Row. When Pop died, Death Row was over. You know, when Biggie died, Puff still made hits. You know what I'm saying? He made shows. You feel what I'm saying? Like he still, to this day, he's still here doing his thing. You know what I'm saying? So the longevity, you got to give the win to Bad Boy on that. Yeah. But as far as the impact of the industry, I gave it to Death Row. You know what I'm saying? The impact. So that's you know, that's my opinion on. I think that Death Row had a bigger impact, but Bad Boy had a roster, you know, and it lasted longer.
I know. Myself, around that time, I was listening to everything. Mm-hmm. I wasn't. If it was from Texas, I bought it. You know, what's the guy's name? Mr. Mike. That he was from Suave House. I don't know if you remember Suave House. Yeah. I bought everything. I wasn't into like, you know, back then people was kind of like, I only, if it ain't East Coast or if it ain't Cali, I was listening to all of it. And I was like, I was equally wowed by both of them. You know what I mean? I loved Bad Boy. Death Row had, obviously, they set it off with Dre. And then obviously that album was different because it wasn't just a regular album. It had a host of characters on there that kind of introduced us to Warren G before we even knew who Warren G was.
Exactly.
Daz and Crew Up, Lady of Ray, RBX, everybody was on there.
Yeah.
And then DOC, Snoop, of course. The blueprint was already set.
Yeah.
For him to drop his album because he was a star off the crime. And then it just went on. They couldn't be touched. Murder Was the Case, Above the Rim. And statistically wise, I can't really dispute. They were a little deeper, roster wise. I think what did it for me with Bad Boy, not so much saying us from a statistical level, from a personal level, as I loved R&B, and they to me they won me over because of the R&B edge. Deathrow, they tried to do something with R&B, but they just couldn't quite. They couldn't master it. Like Puffy had that. He had that crew of cats who knew how to lace that street R&B because he had it already figured out with Mary J.
Yeah.
And they pretty much just took it, And it
Oh,
was,
I forgot Mary J.
Yeah, he knew they had it on lock. That's how, to me, if I had to judge it as a whole, Bad Boy had a little bit slight edge, because I'm just if I wasn't such an R&B man, I'd probably say Death Row. But plus Biggie too, I was a Biggie freak or whatever, and I have to look at not just who was there, but who was I crazy about. I was crazy about Biggie. I liked Dogg Pound. I was crazy about Snoop. I wasn't crazy about Lady Ray. So I kind of looked at it like that. You know what I mean? How did I look at each artist? Not just the fact that they were successful. Was I really fucking with them like that?
Yeah.
So I looked at all of that. But you can't deny that Death Row they not only had the West Coast on lock, they had the fucking earth spooked.
They had a shock.
They was the boogeyman of hip hop.
You know what I'm saying? And not only that though, but I would say this. I'm glad you brought up the R&B, right? I think if you took, with the exception of Mary J and Faith, let's take them out, but all the other little subgroups, 112, all I think if you put all of them together, smushed up together, right? They weren't even as more famous than Nate Dogg.
You see, as far as his popularity?
His popularity on singing on the Death Row songs, on whoever's song. Matter of fact, he sung a couple of songs from the East Coast too. You know what I'm saying?
He did the song for Fairmont.
And you see what I'm saying? So Nate Dogg was.
He made his imprint with the hook.
Exactly. So when he passed away, man, it was like you didn't realize how much stuff he really did. Like, Nate was that man. He was respected. He was real quiet, calm, cool, collected. You know what I'm saying? Like real laid back. And he was that him and Snoop. I think him and Snoop are one of the most loved rappers of all time. It's like you can't hate Snoop. It's like you your grandmother loves Snoop. You know what I'm saying? That's he's one of those dudes that oh, I like him, baby. What's his name? You know what I'm saying? That's Snoop Dogg. I like him. Something about his persona,
That's another thing. That's when you made it too, and your mother, people outside of rap know who the person is.
Your great grandmother likes him. That's something, and But Nate Dogg put it down. I mean, when he did the that Regulate with Warren G. I mean, that was the 213. Like that right there stayed his mark, and he stayed constant ever since. Like for him to be, you got to understand now, all the tracks that he been on them went platinum. He probably got so many platinum plaques in his house. It's ridiculous for songs that he's been on. So I mean, that's what I'm saying. When I took all the R&B from Buffy to his one,
And plus, when you're one voice, you're easy to identify.
Exactly.
A group like 112 has many voices.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's harder to say, okay, who's who here?
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's like dealing with Deathrow, Bad Boy, and I think that they were always back and forth because when Biggie was number one, and then Biggie went to like number 2 or 3. Pop came back, he became number one. Then when he went down, then Biggie came back. It was like you couldn't, if you wasn't on Death Row or Bad Boy, you wasn't getting in the number 10 spots. You know what I'm saying? Like you couldn't do it.
So when obviously we was talking about, we both you're with Death Row.
I was definitely.
I was with Bad Boy slightly because of the R&B. Then you said I remember you said the 2 biggest labels. Now what about Def Jam? Because Def Jam was like
Def Jam to me.
They were like the ones that Def Jam. If you think about it, it's kind of really off topic. But if you look at what URL is what Def Jam once was. Yeah. Like when you wanted to be signed to Def Jam, that's how rappers are now. They want to be on URL.
Exactly. They want to be. Def Jam was that. Def Jam was that start. That imprint that everybody wanted to be on. You wanted to be on Def Jam or Profile. I remember those two labels right there is the ones that you wanted to be on, and I'll give you that. But now since we're gonna talk about labels, I mean, I think no one did it like No Limit. You know, even with Deathrow selling millions of records and Puffy, man, after Big and Pac died, what Master P did and he came in the game to do and did by himself from scratch from the bottom. Can't take nothing away from that, man. I mean, the man made a $500 million empire in like, 3-4 years. And whether people consider him whack or the artist whack or whatever, that was the beginning of the reign of the South. That's just the facts. Because after Biggie died, right? Death Row and Bad Boy were on a kind of like decline because of the impact that it had on hip hop itself. But when Master P came right after Pac died, and is there heaven for a gangster? I remember in New York, right? I was in the barber shop, right? And the conversation was, yo, you hear this cat, man? He just be on the record talking about, this was a conversation topic, in New York. And they didn't know who he was, but that's the thing they kept saying. And next thing you know, within a year's time, he was the new shit, and blew the hell up, Then, right in the midst of him blowing up, Cash Money, who made more, who made that money in a lesser time than P did. You feel what I'm saying? So you had some labels that had some real big impact and all independent at that. I think if I'm not mistaken, who was the first one to get like I think one of them got a major distribution deal. I think it was Cash Money. So no, Master P. It was Master P. Yeah, it was No Limit. Yeah, because remember
who did he get distributed?
I think it was Universal. If I'm not mistaken, I think it was Universal.
I know Cash Money was Universal.
Yeah, Universal.
I don't remember who distributed No Limit. I didn't really buy it. Because I used to reach it. If I'd have bought this No Limit CDs like that, I would have known. But I don't remember.
Yeah, I think he was one of the first ones to get those big distribution deals. Then when Cash Money came on, they got it with Universal. I forgot. I don't want to get it wrong. But I know that I think Pete did get distribution because of him making his CDs and stuff like that, and and they had a certain look. You know what I'm saying? Like no CD looked like his. He had that.
Yeah, that real glossy.
Yeah, type with the chains.
Yeah,
and
I call it the flea market. That's how it looked like. Big jewelry from the flea market on the mantle.
Yeah, but he made his money.
Yeah, he made his money.
Made his money, man. He made an impact on the game too. And see, the number one key to the longevity, right? Is stay alive. Bottom line. If you stay alive, you can live to tell your own story. You know what I'm saying? That's one of the keys. I mean, look at Ron Isley. Still alive, man. After 40, 50, you're talking about 5 decades, man. The man's still around. He can tell his whole life story from beginning to end while he's still alive. You feel what I'm saying? So, but as far as I gave a little bit more impact to Deathrow, even though Bad Boy got a longer roster and they've been around longer, as I can say, right? I would say that I gave it to Deathrow a little bit more because of the impact of the successfulness of Chronic, Snoop Dogg's album, Dog Pound, and Tupac. Like you can't take away from the Machiavelli album and the All Eyes on Me. It's written in the history books. First double CD, go triple, quadruple platinum. I mean,
he had the South on a lot.
Yeah, he did.
I can't front about that.
Yeah, he did his thing, And if I'm not mistaken, I think Biggie went 3 3 times platinum.
I think he went 3.
Yeah. Yo. And then I think he did probably, what, 3, 4 in the seconds?
7, 10.
10, yeah. That
Because
diamond.
because of him dying,
Yeah.
the sales was obviously went higher because of the situation, the unfortunate demise and whatnot.
Yeah.
It is what it is, but I mean.
What it is. Yeah, so, tell us what you think, you know what I'm saying? Comment below. We definitely like your, see what your comments and what your opinions are on it. Let's see what your, what you thought about it. I already know what many of y'all gonna say already, but
like and subscribe, and also leave some suggestions of some things that you would like us to talk about.
That's right.
I'm out.
Too much TV.
Wow.